At the absolute peak of his power, King Sango sat upon a throne that commanded the respect of every nation under the sun. He held court with mechanical precision, his judgments flawless, yet his eyes remained haunted by an internal void that no victory could fill. The empire flourished, but the Alafin was drifting away, lost in a sea of mounting isolation that chilled the air around him. Seeking a mirror of his own guilt, Sango visited Oba in the quiet sanctuary of her private chambers, away from the prying eyes of the court. He sat beside her, his hand reaching out to trace the fresh scar on her cheek, a mark left by the chaos of his reign. Oba pulled her hand away, her voice a soft but firm rejection of the pity he offered. She didn't want him to stay out of guilt. As evening fell, the king sought out Oya. In the training yard, she moved with the relentless grace of a violet storm. Sango watched from the shadows of the doorway, admitting that despite his empire's size, he felt a total and crushing void. He confessed that every triumph only intensified his isolation, cancelling out the world until only the hollowness remained. Oya stopped her form, studying him with eyes that saw through the royal facade. She sensed the storm gathering deep within his soul. She knew he had already made a choice. The king was no longer fighting the darkness. He was preparing to become the lightning. In the dead of night, Sango retreated to his private chamber. The weight of the Oshe axe felt different in his hands. He thought of his father, the man who had traded a son for a military legacy, forging Sango into a weapon of war. He whispered a vow to the steel. On the full moon, he would call the lightning and reveal his true nature to all. A flicker of white light danced at the palace window, an omen of the cataclysm that was now inevitable. Far away in a compound filled with sacred smoke, the oracle Orunmila closed his eyes, hearing the echo of the king's decision. The prophecy was unfolding. The ruler of the earth was reaching for the power of the heavens, and the world would tremble. A distant crack of thunder answered Sango's vow, a violent response from the gods to a man who no longer feared them. The isolation was complete. The king was alone with his destiny, and the storm was finally here. As the screen fades to black, the sound of rain begins to fall, washing away the remnants of the man who once was.